Okay guys, to begin with, the way I cut my own kaftan is this. So I'm going to fold the front panel first. So this folding is for the front panel first. I just have the front panel here. Now I have a line drawn here that will serve as the shoulder line. Okay, so now the folding I'll be using, I'll work with the chest measurements. So the chest measurement I'm working for this baby is 20 inches, and I'm going to divide that 20 inches by 4. That will give me 5 inches. So I'm going to be adding at least extra 3 inches or 4 inches. If I add 4 inches, that will give me 9 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to mark 9 inches here. Like I said, this fabric, it shifts a lot, so you can just go ahead and follow what I'm doing. So I'm just going to mark 9 inches all the way down. So when I do that, I'm just going to use my ruler and connect down 9 inches. So the line is not that visible, but you can see it's more. So the next thing I want to do now is, from this place, I'm going to mark the total length of this dress. The total length I'm working with is 17 inches. So 17, I'll be adding extra 2 inches for folding. So I'll have an allowance of 2 inches for folding. That will give me a total of 19 inches. But to be on the safer side, I'm just going to mark 19.5 inches. So that is what I have here, 19.5 inches. So the next thing I want to do now is to go ahead and cut out the front panel. So after cutting now, this will serve as my front panel. Okay, so now I want to bring in the back panel, and I will use this front panel to cut out the exact measurement I have for the back panel. So I'm just going to fold this piece like this. I'm just going to fold the fabric like this for the back panel, and I'm going to place this front side to cut out the exact measurement I have for the back panel. So here on the down part, I'll be adding extra 3 inches. So here I'm just going to measure at least 3 inches. If it's adults, you can add 4 inches. Okay, so this is for a baby. I'll be adding 3 inches here, and that is it. I can actually work with 2.5 inches, and that will be enough too. Panel as well. So now the next thing I want to do is to slant the shoulder. Okay, so placing it this way exactly, you can see the back is longer than the front here. So now the next thing I want to do is to slant it. So what do? Here I'm going to come up here and minus that 3 inches that I added there. So I'm just going to come down by 3 inches from this up. I'll come down by 3 inches, and I'm going to mark it here. So this is my 3 inches mark. Bear with me, this fabric is not helping matter at all. It's not beginners friendly at all, but if you follow the line, if you follow my mouth, you will get it perfectly. Just follow what I'm doing. So this is that 3 inches mark that I have here. So from that 3 inches mark, I'm just going to slant it all the way up. Okay, you can see how I'm placing my ruler. So from that 3 inches, I'm going to slant it all the way up here, and then I'm going to mark it like this. So I can actually see the line, but you might not be seeing it, but I can actually see the line here. So after slanting it, I'm just going to go ahead and follow that line and cut it out this way. You can see. So now it's on the same length with the back panel. You can see that the back panel is now bigger here, it's now longer here. And make sure that the measurements here is equal. So after that, I'm just going to be overlapping this like this. You can see how it's looking. You can just overlap it to meet this with half an inch, and make sure you arrange this fabric very well. Just mark half an inch. So you're going to hold this down like this. Hold it down. There is no light. I would have gone ahead to iron it down. So when you hold it down, this is how exactly it will look like. So now, since there is no light, I'm just going to use my pin to hold it down like this. So guys, I've already used my pin to hold it down here on top of this half an inch. Okay, so the next measurement I'll be taking is to mark my shoulder measurement. So the shoulder I'm using is 9 inches. When I divide 9 inches by 2, that will give me 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to add extra half inch to make it 5 inches. So I'm going to mark 5 inches from here, 5 inches from here. So this is my shoulder. Okay, so the next thing now is to mark my armhole. So I'm going to mark the same 5.5 inches here as my armhole. So guys, now I have my chest line here. The chalk is not visible, sorry. This is my chest line. Now the next thing I want to be marking is the half length of the baby. The half length is 8 inches. So I'm going to place my tape from here and then mark 8 inches. This is 8 inches here. So this is the half length. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to use my ruler and draw a straight line on that half length. So now I have my chest line, I have my half length. So in order not to disturb yourself on the hemline, trying to measure the hip measurement, so what you're going to do is that from this hemline, you're going to come up to where you want your slit to start. That's the vent. Okay, so from this hemline, I'm going to measure up to 5 inches. Okay, I'm going to measure up to 5 inches. That's where my vent is going to start. So this is where the whole measurement is going to stop. So now we'll have the chest line, the tummy line, that's half length, and then the vent. So now it's time to start shaping the whole this thing. So the first this I'm going to get is my armhole. Remember, here we'll have 5 inches, and when you slant it like this, you're going to be having about 4.5 inches. So I'm going to mark that 4.5 inches here, and when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to that shoulder line. So now from this middle point, what I'll do is that I'll be coming in by quarter of an inch. From this point, I'll mark about, or let's use half an inch. This is a small baby, so I'll mark half an inch here. This is my half an inch point. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'm just going to use my curve ruler to curve it. Okay, so after covering it with half an inch, I'm just going to come in a little bit like this, and then curve another one to meet the chest line as well. Remember, this is a chest line. Curve it in a little again to meet the chest line, and then the armhole. So now first I'm going to cut this armhole side. So I'm just going to follow this thing. So you can see how I cut it. Now I'm going to raise it up to shaping the front side. So that's the whole shoulder cut. So after that, I'm going to take this back to the original position. Okay, remember it's folded like this. So the next thing I want to do now is to cut the neckline. For the wideness of the neck, I'll be using 2 inches. Okay, so here I have my 2 inches. So I'm cutting it together, both the front and the back. So when I use these 2 inches, I'm just going to slant it a little. Just make a little slant here for this back neckline. Okay, so from underneath like this, I'm just going to raise it up. So for the front, here I have my 2 inches mark here, so we'll know where to start when we are working on the front neckline. But before then, let's finish up with the whole measurement. So now the next thing I want to do is to start inputting all our measurements. So now for here I'm going to add our main chest measurement. The chest measurement is 20 inches by 4. That will give what 5 inches. So we're going to add extra 1 inch for sewing allowance and ease. So I'm going to add extra 1 inch, but I would prefer to add 1.5 inches because you know these babies that are growing. So 1 inch for stitching allowance and 1/2 inch for ease. That's how I do it. So I'm going to mark that here, as simple as that. So this is where I have it here. So what I marked here is 6.5 inch. So on this tummy line, I'm just going to mark 6 inches. So this is 6 inches. So I'm going to connect it. I'm going to connect it to this chest line. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4. Hip measurement by 4, my hip measurement of the baby is 22 inches. So when I divide it by 4, that will give me a total of 5.5 inches. So I'm going to add extra 1.5 inch like I added here. That will give me 7 inches. So here I'm going to mark 7 inches here, and that is it. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect the line. So to fold these vents, I'm going to mark 1 inch extra to fold these vents. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it like this from all the way here. Mark extra 1 inch to fold the vent. So that's basically it for the. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out. So you pay attention to how I'm going to cut this out. When I get to this place, I'm going to slant it and cut it this way, and that is it. So now to retake the full measurement, remember that the full length of the dress we are working with is 17 inches. So we added 2 inches for folding. That will give us 19 inches. So I'm going to place my tape here and make sure I have that 19 inches. So you can see where 19 inches is. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim it out. So that's basically it for the whole cutting. Okay,
so to work on the front neckline, we are using the same neck width, and for the neck depth I'm coming down by 5 inches. So this is a V neckline, a build up neckline. So from there I'm just going to connect it back to that neck width. We are not changing the neck width, only the neck depth that we're coming down by 5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it back to the former neck width that we used for the back. Okay, and after that I'm just going to go ahead and trim the neck line. So I have my front panel ready, and I'm going to place it with the back panel, right side facing right side. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine and join the shoulders together like this. I'm going to stitch the shoulder.
so guys, to fix the neck, I'm just going to go ahead and cut and measure the round neck. So whatever I have is what I will use to cut out what I will use to sew the neckline. Okay, so here I have 17 inches. I've cut out this long fabric for the neck. It's long enough to go around the neck. So what I'll do now is this. I'm just going to place the front like this. So now I've sewed this thing. I'm going to place it this way. Just place it this way. Then I'm going to, so just make sure you have at least an extension like this, at least 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So I'm going to sew using 1/2 inch. Remember, I placed it on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to sew now using 1/2 inch. So I'll keep sewing all around the neck till I get to this point. Okay, so I'll sew it now and come back and show us how it's looking like.
After sewing around the neck, this is how it's looking like. So you're just going to notch it by the side like this, and also notch like this. You'll be careful not to cut the thread. Okay, so you're going to flip this inside like this and flip this other one as well. Then you go ahead and arrange the neckline. You can top stitch through the front, or you can just turn it back like this. Hold it very well, just adjust this very well, and run a stitch here to hold this. And after that, you just go ahead and cut out the excess. So after I'm done top stitching it, this is how it's looking like. You can see how neat the neckline is looking like, and this is the sleeve as well. If you want to know how to make this tidy sleeve with opening by the side, please go ahead and watch the video on my channel. I have a detailed video on how to make that sleeve. So the last thing remaining for me is to stitch this side, and the dress is ready. So if you have watched to this end, guys, please help me like this video and also subscribe to my channel. So we left a vent here. I'm also going to work on that.